Welcome to the Department of Kinesiology and Applied Health information session for third and fourth year students. I'm sure you're all aware already of CATSA, the student group, the Kinesiology and Athletic Therapy Student Association. So you should make sure that you're on their email list, and you can see their email here, uofwcatsa@gmail.com. You can also follow them on Instagram, uofwcatsa. And they post updates regularly. You can see some of them in this picture here, and their names are listed as well. So CATSA is really important, particularly when you're wanting to graduate. So they plan a lot of fun graduation related events. They also organize grad clothing that you can order, and normally a graduation dinner as well when we don't have to social distance and we can actually have that happen. So I do encourage you to be on their email list, as they do send out things like job advertisements, volunteer opportunities, social opportunities, and other information related to kinesiology. So if you are wanting to graduate this year or next year, first you want to make sure that you're eligible to graduate. So you would want to check in and make an appointment with an academic advisor to review that and make sure that you have met all of the graduation requirements, or that you're on track to meet those requirements. So don't wait until after Christmas in the new year to do this, because if you're wanting to graduate in June and you're short a credit, then you're running out of time. Whereas now you can look at it and realize, oh, I need to add another course in the winter term, or maybe I need to take something in the spring term, and I'm actually not going to graduate until October. Okay, so there are deadlines for graduation, which I'll talk about in an upcoming slide. Convocation is obviously the graduation ceremony. The one in June was postponed until October, and now the one in October is actually going to be a virtual graduation ceremony. So hopefully next June we can get back to having live ceremonies. For students who graduate in February, there is never actually a physical convocation for those students. You would always attend the one in June, and that would be your convocation as well. CATSA will send out some information to you about grad clothing if you want to order any of that. And they typically, as I said, order or organize a graduation dinner. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible or not, but hopefully by June we can do that. Normally the university does graduation pic photographs. Again, I'm not sure what the plan is with that, so just check the university website as they would provide updates regarding that. So general degree requirements, these are all listed in the academic calendar, so you can definitely, you should always be checking back there. But what I really wanted to highlight to you is that there's a maximum number of 1,000 level credit hours that you can take. So basically, the university won't let you do a degree with mostly or only 1,000 level introductory level courses, okay? So if you've taken more or exceeded that 42 credit hours at the 1,000 level, then you actually have to offset that with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 level courses, okay? So it means you'll have to take extra courses in order to graduate, because they won't count all of those 1,000 level courses towards your degree requirements. So do be careful about that. I know there's definitely some students over the last few years who've run into trouble with that. Please do talk to an academic advisor if you have concerns or questions about the general degree requirements. And Megan Mikulak is an academic advisor in that department, and she was our department assistant previously, so she knows a lot about kinesiology. She's a graduate of our program quite a few years ago now, but definitely knows the program and is a great resource, so you might want to reach out to her. So there have been some degree changes. These don't directly affect you. So these affect students who started in 2019 or later. So whatever degree path you started with, so if you started in 2016 or 2017 or 2018, then you're fine. Or earlier, you follow those degree requirements in the academic calendar year for the year you started. So you always need to look back to that year to make sure that you are on track for graduation. If you started in 2019 or later, there have been some changes and there are some changes coming. So I just want to point this out because I know some students are panicking that the calendar looks different this year, but never follow the calendar year for this year unless you've just declared your major or changed your declaration of major to this year. Always follow the year that you actually declared your major in. So last year in 2019, we implemented some changes to the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education. Okay, this might affect you in a few ways. So there are has been some phasing out of some courses. So for example, KIN 2400, KIN 2206, and KIN 1302. So 2400 and 2206 are movement education and teaching games for understanding. So you might notice that those are no longer offered in the academic calendar, but they might be an option for your degree if you started before 2019. What that means is in your degree, there is a selection of 4 courses. So there's physical growth and motor development, outdoor education, and then teaching games for understanding and movement education. So basically what we've done is taken the options away from you. So it says choose two, and really you're left with 2 choices. So if you completed TGFU or movement ed um, previously, that's fine. They still count there. It just means that people don't have the option to take those courses going forward. KIN 1302 is still technically in the calendar, but we haven't offered it for a few years, and we're not planning to offer it again. So it should come off the calendar for next year. So that's no longer an option. So that's the teaching individual. And KIN 1303, which is teaching team, is still offered, but this is the last year that it's going to be offered. So it's currently, there's 2 sections being offered right now, and those are the last 2 sections that are going to be offered. So after that, if you haven't taken those for some reason, you should have, you've had plenty of opportunity, then you do need to get in touch with me or uh, whoever is the department chair at the time that you're looking to graduate, okay? Um, so that might also affect you if you're doing a BKIN because some of those courses were um, sort of options in your degree as well, okay? So the BKIN has been changed as of this year. So again, it shouldn't affect any of you because this is really affecting new incoming students. But you might look at it and feel like, oh, you know what, actually, I'm closer to finishing that degree, or I really like the options in that degree better than, the degree path I'm following right now, the, 2016 BKIN. So actually, I want to change it, and you can. So you can always go forward in the academic calendar, but you can't go back. So what that means is if you started in 2017, then you can follow the academic calendar from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Okay, but it means you can't follow the academic calendar from any previous year. So 2016, no, 2015, no, etc. Okay, so you can always move forward, not back. So the most important things that have happened with the changes with the BKIN is we are now certified through an organization called CUPICA, which is a national organization of kinesiology and physical education administrators, so people who are department chairs or deans basically. And this group certifies programs. So our BKIN degree is now a certified program in Canada. And so what that means is we have to meet some minimum requirements, which the program has, the new revised program, okay, which is a good thing for our program. So you will see some changes. There's basically we had to meet sort of the foundational or core requirements in kinesiology that this group views as being essential to anyone who's got a background in kinesiology. So I would say one of the most significant changes, for example, is in the previous BKIN, you could choose either biomechanics or exercise physiology. And now in this degree, you have to take both, which makes good sense because they're both core to kinesiology. The other change you'll see is more of an emphasis on sort of sociocultural aspects of kinesiology. So now you have to take more courses in that area as well. So we're seeing more of a balance. You still have plenty of room for electives to sort of shape the degree in the direction you want to go, but we're ensuring that all students who finish with a BKIN are coming out with the same core foundations. Okay, so the other significant thing that's happened as a result of this is there's no longer a BKIN sport coaching. Again, don't panic. If you started it before this year, you're fine. You can finish that degree. But going forward, new students can't come in and declare their major in sport coaching. It's just not an option anymore. The other significant change is to the BSc exercise science. So again, basically what we've done is we've taken the BKIN general, the BKIN sport coaching, and the BKIN or the BSc exercise science, and we've taken components from each of those, and we've created what we really see as the ideal Bachelor of Kinesiology degree. So the BSc exercise science won't be an option going forward, but if you started it prior to this year, that's fine, and you can finish that degree. Next year, there are going to be changes to the BSc Athletic Therapy. So any students starting that degree after this year will see some changes to that degree. Most of the changes are just things like slightly changing the name of a course and some of the content. Um, some of the course numbers have changed, but there's not sort of significant major changes to that degree. Um, One of the biggest things that has changed is the KIN 2500, which is the Practicum 1, and that actually isn't going to exist anymore after this year. So if you were for some reason waiting to take that Practicum 1, you should get in touch with Val Pellick as soon as possible. We are offering a KIN 2500 in the winter term. You may have seen that on WebAdvisor, and it's a little bit of a different approach. So basically, it's more of a seminar style instead of actually going out into the field to do a practicum. And there's a few reasons behind that. Then, if you need to know that or are curious, you feel free to get in touch with me, but I won't get into that here. Um, but anyway, if you do need that course for your degree, then you should take it this winter. Otherwise, it's not going to be offered again. And yeah, if you need to take it, you need to take it. So if you can't take it in the winter term for some reason, or you can't fit it in your schedule, then we'll have to do a substitution and figure out a different course for you to take instead of that one. So I really do encourage you to make sure that if you are doing the BSc Athletic Therapy and you haven't done Practicum 1 yet, that you do take that in the winter. Okay, so you may have heard, maybe some of your friends are doing the kinesiology honors degree. So this is a new degree option, and essentially you just have to be registered in one of the 4-year kin degrees. So you can't be doing the BPHE because it's only a 3-year degree, so you can't get an honors in a 3-year degree. Also, there isn't enough room in the athletic therapy degree in order to do the honors degree. So you basically have to be doing the 4-year BKIN general, the 4-year BKIN sport coaching, or the 4-year BSc exercise science, or the new 4-year BKIN. All apply. You need a minimum grade average of 3.0 or a B in your kinesiology courses. And then what you do is you take the honors seminar course, and we're offering that right now for the first time, and you take 2 honors thesis courses. What this is actually just one thesis project, but it's just broken up into sort of 2 parts. Okay, so it allows you to work on it over the course of a year. So you work under a faculty supervisor, and you actually do a research project. And at the end, you do a presentation and you produce your thesis document. Um, yeah, so there's more information about this on our website, so you can take a look at that if you're curious. And you can also contact me if you have any specific questions about the honors degree. There's a few more requirements, and those are sort of listed in the pamphlet that you can find on the department website. Okay, so deadlines. Apply for graduation now. Don't wait for the deadline. So the deadline is February 1st, but that's a like end of it. You can't apply after, but you can apply anytime before, okay, for June 2021 graduation. So you can do it today, and you apply online through the student planning tool and web advisor. You must declare your major before applying for graduation. So if you haven't for some reason, you need to do that first. So you can get a declaration of major form from Julie, the department assistant. I don't think that affects, I think most students now have declared their major, but it used to be more of a problem previously. But I know some of our courses, you can't get into them if you haven't declared your major. So I would think for most of you, it's not a concern, but if you haven't done it yet, you need to. If you're not sure, just look on WebAdvisor because it will tell you um, what sort of degree path you're following, and then you know that you've declared your major in that area. Okay. So information about convocation is sent to you by the university to your U Winnipeg email address and to your current home address that's on file at Student Central. So if you've moved or um, if you were living, maybe when you started university with your parents and they've moved or something, and that was your home address, do make sure and you can check with Student Central that they have your correct home address, okay? So information is sent to you. It's actually relatively late. So for June convocation, you'll be sent information. Convocation is usually early June, around June 10th or so. And convocation in October is normally the Friday of reading week in October. This year, I think it's a week later, but anyway, that doesn't really affect you for this year. Normally, we do a photo with faculty who have been able to attend convocation in the Recplex following the ceremony, and all the graduating students from kinesiology. So this year we won't be able to do it, unfortunately, but hopefully again next year things will be a little bit back to normal, and we'll be able to do that. Each student will have a picture taken of them while they're crossing the stage to get their diploma. And the university, again, they're the ones who are in charge of that. So they do post information under this link, so you can check that out for more info. If you're thinking about graduate school, so you're thinking about doing a master's of science or a master's of arts or a physio or occupational therapy program or other programs, do make sure that you look early at the programs that you're interested in to make sure that you are going to meet their entry requirements as far as courses that you need to take um, and things like GPA, etc. Um, Also know that if you need to ask for a reference letter, which a lot of them do, and you need to ask for one from your professor or from me, that you ask as early as you can. Um, it's really, even though you might think, oh, it's just a letter, it won't take that long, it does actually take quite a while to put these letters together in a thoughtful way that's actually going to help you. So make sure that you ask early as possible. Make sure you ask somebody who knows who you are, right, and has some connection. I know that sounds a little silly, but I have had a couple students ask me for reference letters for jobs, not necessarily graduate school, and I was like, I don't actually know who this student is, or I don't have anything to, say about them. And, they're in my class with 60 students, but they never came up and talked to me, or they never made any connection. So it can be difficult that way. So make sure you do have at least some relationship with this person, that you know that they would know who you are and they have something to write about you. It's also helpful if you can send things like maybe your research interests or your research plans, so that they can tailor the letter a little bit to what you're interested in. That's usually really helpful. Some graduate programs will provide financial support for you, so that's something to look into. Sometimes you have to apply for scholarships ahead of when the program starts. You want to make sure you find a graduate supervisor that you're going to work well with, so you can ask your professors who are in a related area or in that particular field that you're interested in, because they're going to know people in the field, and they're going to know, things about them and sort of be able to judge whether it'd be a good fit as far as personality wise and research interests and things like that. So they can usually make some recommendations for you. You want to look at whether a program is a thesis-based program or a course-based program. Um, in some cases, it doesn't really matter. But if you are thinking that you want to do a doctorate after your master's, then you need to do a thesis-based program, not course-based. So a thesis-based program is when you do a research project and you write up the project. A course-based program typically means that you take quite a lot of coursework at the graduate level, and you may or may not have sort of a major final project to do. So you'd have to look into the specific program you're interested in. Um, do make sure that you submit your graduate school application prior to the deadline. So from my own experience, I know when I was looking at PhD programs, I applied to a few programs ahead of the deadline and got accepted to two of them before the application deadline. So what that means, and the supervisor I ended up working with ultimately only took one student that year. So what that means is everybody else who waited until the deadline didn't even get considered because he'd already accepted his one student for that year. Okay, so don't wait. Apply as soon as you've figured out what you want to do. Apply early. Okay, don't wait. Also, try to reach out to the potential supervisor, and you could maybe chat on Zoom or on the phone. Obviously, ideal if you can meet in person and go visit the lab that you might be working in. But do make that connection before you just submit your application, because again, they get a lot of applications across their desk, and so and so from U of W, okay, that's nice. Good student, but not really standing out. Or, oh wow, this is that student from U of W who I had that chat with on Zoom, and they were really interested in this area of my research, and I think this would be a really great fit. And even if you maybe don't have necessarily the highest GPA compared to maybe some other applicants, you can stand out in those ways, and they might accept you because of that. Um, Other ways to kind of boost your graduate school application are things like being a research assistant, getting involved in research, being a lab demo or a marker, or even doing a directed study. And also the honors program is a great sort of way to get into graduate school too. Pathway. There's lots of areas that you can work in kinesiology, as I'm sure you're getting more aware of. Some kind of require additional education or training. Some you can do right from when you leave here. We do have sort of a little profile of some of our grads on our website, so you can take a look at that. I do encourage you too, once you graduate, to touch base with us. You can touch base with, the professor you really connected with most, or myself, or our department assistant, and just let us know what you're up to, because I know students really like to know what our grads are doing and what are some possible career options for them as well. You can also look at the U of W website for some job postings that we put on there. So for our own department, as well as there's the career services department at the university too, who can help you. So there's lots of external associations. So now is a good time if you haven't already joined some of the professional associations. If you are intending to work in these areas after graduating, do become a student member. Usually they have a reduced student membership fee, and you can start to get to know some of the people in your field and have an understanding of sort of the current topics that are going on in the particular area that you're interested in working in. Okay, skills to acquire. So some of these you have to be a little more creative this year, right? Because a lot of things are happening online. They're not happening necessarily in person, or a lot of things have just been canceled, right? So I understand that it would be more challenging than ever. But I think if you can do some of these things, then it's really going to help set you apart. So if you can take on more of a leadership role, for example, if you can do some job shadowing somehow, if you can do some research with your professors or attend conferences and workshops, etc. So just something that's going to help you stand out, give you some experience in the area that you're interested in. Now, the important thing here is, sometimes we get students applying for things like scholarships, and it's like, oh yeah, I volunteered for this, and it was like a one-time thing, and it's like one day out of the year that they did this thing, and it's not that that's not valuable, but I don't think it makes quite as an impression as somebody who's volunteered at the same organization for several years. Maybe they've acquired new skills because of this volunteer experience. They've been able to contribute in multiple ways, and that, of course, is quite a different experience than sort of a one-time event. Okay. So you may have attended or heard of our Connect Research Week in past years. So we're having this again, November 2nd to 6th, and it is going to be a virtual event. So it'll be live online through Zoom, and that information will be coming out pretty soon. So we do have our national keynote speaker confirmed, and it's Dr. Bettina Callery from Cape Breton University, and she's going to be speaking about her research and coaching. On the Friday, we have faculty members and some students from our department who are going to do brief presentations, like 12-minute presentations, about some of the research projects they've been working on. And one day we're going to have another keynote speaker. I'm not sure now, it might not be another international speaker, it might be a national speaker, but they're still working on confirming that particular speaker. So again, the specific times will be coming out soon and how to log on to the Zoom. But it's going to be held on November 2nd, a Monday, November 4th, a Wednesday, and November 6th, a Friday. So that information will be coming out to you pretty soon. So even if you're not particularly interested in research, I do encourage you to attend this. Again, I think it's something that you can learn a lot about your field. It might, it's always good to hear from other people. I know you hear from us here at UW a lot, but it's always good to hear what's going on in other parts of the country and other parts of the world as well. If you have questions, our frequently asked questions page on the department website is a really great resource, and you can find information on the honors program, athletic therapy program, and answers to overall general questions about the kinesiology degrees and department. So you can check that out on our website. I also encourage you to follow us on our social media, Twitter and Instagram. So our handle is at UW Department Kin. Um, so you can Julie's always posting things on there. So there's lots of things like career opportunities, volunteer opportunities, upcoming events, and other important information. So do check on there as well. Finally, if you still have additional questions, you can contact Julie Ward, our department assistant. Right now, the best way to get in touch with her is by email, of course. We are still not in our offices, but they're starting to sort of phase people back in October. So eventually we'll be there. I still don't think students are just going to be able to come onto campus and drop by though. So for now, email is the best way. If you need a phone call or a Zoom meeting, we can arrange that too. So ask Julie. If it's something very specific about your degree or sort of you don't know what to do as far as your career path or about graduate school or the honors program, then do feel free to get in touch with me, Dr. Melanie Gregg, and you can reach me by email. m.greg@uwinnipeg.ca is probably the best way as well to get in touch with me right now. Okay, so have a great year and take care.